everyone, Michaela here from Binance. I will be your moderator for today, and I would like to call my fellow panelist. Great. Sarah?
I'm not sure what's...
Excellent.
Shall I be? Okay.
Great. Hope you all are having a great day so far. It's going to be one of the best panels, a controversial one for sure. And before we start, I would like the panelists to introduce a little bit about themselves, what they do, and yeah, pretty much their mission and vision.
So, can you hear me? Can you hear me? So, hello everyone. My name is Sarah Hall. I'm a regulatory lawyer. I specialize in DAOs, Web3, and all things crypto. I've been practicing law for more years than I'd like to say. My practice very much focuses on Bermuda, Cayman Islands, and British Virgin Islands law. And the reason for that is all of those jurisdictions are very open to blockchain-based businesses, to DAOs, and to supporting innovation. So that's me in a nutshell.
Hi, I'm Richard Welsh. I run Decent Partners, which is an organization that bridges off-chain, real-world kind of companies and on-chain collectives. And we're building infrastructure and services and tools that are going to enable creators, so traditional Web2 creators, to collaborate with their fans, and also potentially sponsors, and create more closer alignment between them in terms of creating novel creative projects, and sort of sharing value more equitably between the group, and creating more adventurous and more experimental ideas.
Is mine working? Okay. Hi, my name is Artur. I'm the co-founder of Non Fungible Agency. I come from an events background. I was organizing one of the biggest events in the world when it comes to NFTs. And now, basically, I'm helping other events to grow and scale.
Thank you. My name is Andreas Schem. I'm Ecosystem and Operations Director at Human Protocol. Hopefully you know what Human Protocol is, because you're here. But otherwise, we'll talk about that more tomorrow. And I'm very happy to join this very cool panel.
Hi, my name is Tim, and I'm the CEO of a crypto marketing firm. We work with various projects, and I've been now in the crypto space since 2017 and helped, I think, closer to 150 projects launch and do various growth campaigns.
Thank you. Thank you for those incredible introductions. Lastly, before we start, my name is Michaela. I lead the institutional business unit at Binance. We are the arm in Binance that caters to VIB clients, VCs, family offices, prop trading firms, etc. Today, we are going to quite discuss a topic that has been the center of attention in the last few months, and that's how can we leave Western culture behind in order to solve global challenges. So I would like to start with Sarah. Perhaps you can give us your view more on law enforcement. How are we leaving behind that Western-centric vision, and where are we going?
So I think what we've certainly seen in the past 15 years is the power that before used to be concentrated in a number of institutions and corporations has been fragmented across different communities. And I think part of that is social media has really empowered people, and people can find each other much more easily online, and then they can get together and form really vibrant and really powerful communities. And I think that certainly when I was first practicing law, there was no internet, right? So no one could find each other, or it was a very clumsy way. I guess what we've seen is many successful communities have organized themselves through DAOs, and my firm, Walkers, for example, helped make a DAO sort of 7 years ago. We also act for a number of very powerful DAOs. So I think that's what we've seen. We've seen people saying, right, we can form our own organisations. We can democratise decision making. It doesn't have to be concentrated in the hands of a number of big players. So that's my answer to your question.
Thank you, Sarah. Perhaps, Richard, your point of view?
I've been an idiotic contributor to DAOs for the last 4 years, probably, and have mostly as a way of kind of understanding the incentives as they play out. And as Sarah says, you end up with these amazing systems that aggregate people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all parts of the world into these sort of novel systems, but it's still people. And there's the sort of joke that DAOs stand for decentralized autonomous organizations. Actually, what it's turning out to be is dudes arguing online. And so that's the kind of the token-based incentives that have currently been created. I think there are a number of problems that DAOs have right now. And I think we're almost at this sort of first sort of baby step stage of what these new organizations do and what they look like. The kind of amazing thing is there's been this, well, amazing or terrifying, depending on your perspective, the amount of capital that's been deployed and is now kind of stuck in these organizations. So I think the sort of maturing of the space will be trying to figure out with these groups of people in these organizations how they work together in a more collaborative and more kind of positive sum way, rather than it just being these giant honey pots of money that everyone sort of arrives at and tries to spend. And that's, I think if you can get to that point, that's when you'll end up with more exciting opportunities for people around the world that are not just tied to existing sort of platforms and Western and opportunities.
Artur, where's your view more on business development now?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What is your view on leaving behind those Western-centric practices on business development specifically?
So my background, like, I've lived in East Timor. Like, I've lived in a small island where it's a completely different reality than where we are from. I've spent a lot of time in Africa, for example, and like the average salary there, it's $100 for a doctor. The average salary for a common person is like $20. The minimum salary is $10, and the cost of living can reach sometimes 7 to 8 times more than what they're actually making. So this is not sustainable for them, right? This is hyperinflation, very clear happening. And a use case like cryptocurrency or Bitcoin here can have a lot of positive impact. Why? Because they much rather hold their savings in Bitcoin than in a currency that is hyperinflating, because even if it decreases 60 to 70%, it's still a better bet. With like sometimes 30 to 40 years of savings, these people can't even afford a bicycle. So this is where I think decentralized currencies come in. This is where I think Bitcoin is quite interesting. I mean, you see countries like Cuba, for example, exchanges like Binance and Coinbase, you can't even create an account there because it's not allowed. So decentralized peer-to-peer trading really becomes alive here, and people get creative. They start Telegram groups where they're directly buying and selling crypto. And to me, this is like a true use case of decentralized currencies being used. And I'm really happy that Bitcoin, people are taking advantage of it and not afraid of it.
Thank you for that. And Tim, in terms of marketing, is there any framework that you particularly like to execute to create such an inclusive vision of both Eastern and Western cultures, not only when you're working with clients, but also in your day-to-day basis?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually perfect, because what you just said is what we are trying to solve, right? We are decentralized projects, so we are democratizing access to work, to opportunity. And we believe that the community, no matter where they are, should have a say. So if we look at the signups that we have, they are very Asia, Africa, South America heavy, because they are vibrant countries looking for opportunity. And that is, I think, the beauty, what you can provide in a decentralized system. You can provide that for the unbanked. The wallet creation is a lot easier than getting a bank account. And by people getting opportunity to complete work, to complete tasks, to contribute, and then be rewarded and even participate in things like governance and things like DAOs, can shape the future. And I think that's an absolute beauty, and that is 100% what we are here for.
Excellent, excellent. Sarah, anything that you think that it will be critical or a catalyzer for more substantial progress for that inclusion moving forwards? Or let's say it better, how do you think those challenges, which challenges are quite aggressive in this topic, and which things are not allowing us to advance?
So the theme that's come through very much post the FTX debacle is that there is no universal standard of regulation. So a lot of clients don't want to be regulated, or they're not quite ready to be regulated. But a number of clients, are funded because there is some prospect of the clients at some point being regulated. But what is really holding back progress is the lack of certainty around regulation. I say lack of certainty. I guess in the US, the theme that comes through is there's a huge amount of certainty on the enforcement side. So the regulation effectively is not in place, and it's very atomized, right? So in the US, you have lots of different regulators with their own turf, and that doesn't create any regulatory certainty at all. However, you then get the US prosecutor going after, like, Coinbase, for example, and the SEC has gone after Coinbase, and that creates certainty of enforcement, but without the regulatory basis. So we do see a lot of clients, they want to innovate, they want to be successful, they've got fantastic products, but the lack of a certain regulatory playing field means that they don't have certainty that if they set up in one jurisdiction, that they can really thrive and grow. So many clients have wanted to be in the UK, for example. They wanted to have their business based in the UK, but they've just found that the lack of a coherent government policy has meant that they don't feel comfortable enough committing a lot of resource. So we act for Coinbase, and we've successfully obtained licenses for Coinbase in Bermuda. And the reason for that is because the government has had regulatory certainty and a variety of different licenses for the last 7 years. So people feel comfortable committing capital and resources and expertise to that jurisdiction because they feel the government, is truly in partnership with them. And I think for many clients, essentially running a global business, and they want to do the right thing, but they're just concerned that if they operate, in a particular jurisdiction, the lack of certain solid regulatory basis is not helpful.
Thank you for that. I do think our time is almost up, so I would like to know if we have more time or if we have to wrap up. I think there are quite a few interesting topics to discuss. Do we still have more time? Yeah? Do we still have a little bit more time? Great. So perhaps, again, Artur, you want to give your views on the major challenges that needs to be overcome to move forward? Both of you, Artur and Richard. Which would you like to start?
Well, just going on what Sarah said, and actually what was said before, I think so far the promise of Bitcoin and Ethereum and the different cryptocurrencies has been a kind of a way of potentially creating a parallel system, potentially creating opportunity where there wasn't before. I think the story of protecting wealth from inflation is a great one, and obviously is very valuable to certain people. I think the jury is still out on whether these cryptocurrencies are designed to create wealth. I think other than speculation on the blockchains creating sort of actual jobs, actual utility that is different to just more financial speculation. And there's definitely a dystopian world that we're sort of wandering into, which is where you create incredibly focused financial engineering that also ties to an existing attention economy, and ultimately you onboard people into what is effectively a giant casino. Like, that's just the thing that exists right now. And so the thing that I think still needs to be addressed is, can you create a currency? Can you create something where people's contributions are recognized, where you have something of a kind of store of value, but actually accruing values of the people who are contributing to it, rather than just being a sort of mathematically, sort of engineeringly kind of focused protocol. And I think right now, even at this conference called Human, I think there's a huge amount of the development so far has been very engineering centric, very financially centric, and very little of it has been built out from a humanistic proposition. And I think that's the sort of next phase, is whether it's a reset or a sidestep. I think that's the real challenge.
So.
Well, on my side, like I agree with Richard, but I think, most often than not, we're always so concerned with problems in the first world. And what I really love about Human is that they're bringing awareness to the problems in more emerging countries, in more emerging economies. And there's so much that DeFi can actually solve. Talk about, for example, like micro economies where like farmers having access to DeFi can become much more autonomous, can really grow their businesses where prior hand they wouldn't be able to. And I really appreciate the efforts that Human does, because most of us, like the big companies, are just concerned in what's happening here, but there's so much more than here. There's a whole world out there. So yeah.
I do agree with that, and it's also what we're here for, and actually one of the reasons why we are here at Newconomics. It's a play on new economies, right? And that is why we said we want to be a protocol. We want to enable other people to build their own economies. And just today I've spoken to people from South America, from Asia, who said, like, I want to build something, and Human's tech stack can be leveraged to help them build. So if we can help anyone to save money or save development time or just tap into an ecosystem, then we're very happy with that, because this is literally our agenda. We want to enable people to build projects on top of Human, using Human to help other humans achieve whatever they are thinking of.
You couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, our time is up. We do need to wrap up, but thank you all for your views. I do think we'll be around, so if anyone wants to connect with us after the panel, please do. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
next time.